time, welcome to the Western Clash Grand Finals. My name is Fixer. I got Tetcher here on the left. I got Caldor as well. And I got 3 questions. 1 to Tetcher, are you ready?
I am always ready.
Caldor, are you ready?
Yes.
And to the folks in the crowd, are you ready? I think we're ready.
I just don't trust you when you ask stuff like that.
I knew you would be the question mark in that one. I could believe in the audience. I could believe in Tetcher. Caldor, not
You
so
don't
much.
believe in me?
I don't, not so much.
I have feelings, my friend.
Let's go ahead and take a trip down memory lane. Let's look at the brackets and how far we have come to get to the grand finals. Are there any important moments that jump out for you, Tetcher, in terms of how we got all the way here?
For starters, we talk about Leftovers. They are in this final, but they took down the #1 seed from North America in the first round. No one expected that, but Leftovers have consistently throughout this tournament proven that this is in no way a fluke.
That is very true. Caldor, how about you?
One of the things that I found cool from the Leftovers story is that they could redeem themselves in the lower bracket against the team that sent them there. So that was actually pretty epic, and in pretty convincing fashion too, with a 3-0 just zone.
Now, I know some of you at home watch us on the weekend when we do HGC Europe, HGC North America, and some of you guys know Josh. Josh actually wanted to ask you again, are you guys ready? Are you wanting this grand finals? Are you guys prepared? Come on, let me know. Give me a couple of cheers. Yes? Okay. They're ready.
You're enjoying this way too much.
Josh didn't ask me that, actually.
He's bad with power.
I need another excuse. The power. It
That was
feels
one of
pretty
the,
good.
I didn't hear anything from Joe.
Well, there was a couple of things up for grabs here. The prize pool, obviously a massive deal for our teams. Also, the 3rd slot to BlizzCon has already been secured. We are having a Europe versus Europe finals. Caldor, I know you're a little bit happy about that.
I'm very happy
Look at that
about
dumb
that.
smirk. He is so pumped for that. We will have a 3rd team from Europe competing at BlizzCon, but still the money up for grab and, of course, honor.
To be honest, I would have loved an EU versus NA final, but it was way too risky because...
Freedom was popping off.
Exactly. Freedom had way too many good games today. So if all of a sudden Dignitas struggles a little bit and we lose that extra spot, couldn't let that happen. So I'm happy with Europe.
Well, the Leftovers, the underdogs, have made it all the way here, but one team in particular has been a buzz about being the team to win the tournament, and for good reason.
But what has kept this team going at this level for so long, in your opinion, Trixler?
Their hunger. They want to be the best in the world.
Dignitas, they've raised the bar so high, they're going to need a talent longer than fishing if they want to be able to reach that. That was crazy.
Make no mistake about it, this is the Titan of Dignitas.
Team Dignitas said they expect nothing less than first place at this tournament.
Dignitas moving on to the core.
Team Dignitas, they look ready for everything.
Team Dignitas, they look terrifying.
Dignitas is pretty much the raid boss of this tournament. They've been dominant from beginning to end.
Dignitas.
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 Dignitas. Here comes the X-Prize. Yami is getting caught by the last prize, but the Indomitable Crew keeps him alive. Core goes down, and that is gonna be Leftovers.
Absolutely fantastic performance here by Leftovers. They take the game, they take the series.
I don't know if I've ever seen a team coming out of Europe this comfortable as we see Leftovers. First Cody boss. It's more like peekaboo boss right now.
Heroes Hearth, the #1 seed of North America, NA's hope, is going to get taken down in convincing, decisive fashion by the Leftovers, and they're dabbing.
X-Strike drops down as Lutano and Nasmus, the rest of Team Freedom fighting for their lives. It's just not to be had. 10%, 5%. Leftovers are going to the grand finals of the Western Clash.
Leftovers! 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 Leftovers!
The Leftovers are the very definition of underdogs. Led by Mopsio, the Leftovers have grown and learned from every experience they have had in the HGC. Their carefree attitude and yearning to simply perform their best has landed them a spot in the grand finals. Can this miracle run take them all the way? Give it up for the Leftovers. Dignitas has started their year with one goal in mind, to be the best in the world. And on their journey, they've collected numerous victories, a Western Clash championship, and a second place standing at the mid-season brawl. Today, they aim to prove they are the best team in the West, and they look for another massive victory before going to BlizzCon. Give it up for Team Dignitas. Impressive adventures for both these teams as they make it here to Sunday. Championship Sunday in the Grand Finals. Leftovers with a miracle run. Can they complete it against Dignitas?
I kind of hope so. Like, I love Dignitas, and obviously them winning right now says huge amounts for BlizzCon going in with that kind of momentum. But I have followed Leftovers since the Open Division, where they were called the Leftovers because they were made of players who weren't picked up for main HGC teams and didn't make it in with the rosters that they entered with. And they've managed to make it not only into HGC through the Open Division, but to the Grand Finals. I feel so proud of this team, and I want to see them do well.
What kind of attitude do you have to have if you're the Leftovers coming into the Grand Finals?
I mean, they just have to do what they did the entire time. They're just a bunch of goofballs. You see it every time they win a map. They're just sitting there, they're dabbing. The reason, by the way, why Linked was dabbing again on camera is because when he tried to do it here in the interview and completely failed, his team started to make fun of him for 2 days.
Why did they pick up the dab? It's a 2-year-old thing. Like, you can't just pull that out randomly on a weekend.
He just pulled it out, completely messed it up, and then the rest of the team was just making fun of him for the rest of the day. So he said, okay, when I'm back, I have to redeem myself here. So they started to do it again.
Well, the Leftovers have been lovable goofballs. I mean, we've seen Mopsio in particular. Again, we have to keep highlighting him. He brought the Leftovers here to a Sunday match in the Grand Finals. It's a run that we did not expect, but he's already done it before with the Zealots at the last Western Clash.
The interesting part is actually that I talked a lot to Mopsio, and he said, our problem is once that we think too much about the match, we're actually starting to become a little bit nervous.
Yes.
We need to approach this with this carefree attitude that brought us here and really just play for fun and make sure that we play what we believe in and not all of a sudden just get completely into our heads so we put too much pressure on ourselves. And that's something that, particularly going into today, they talked about a lot. Since yesterday, they struggled a bit more than they expected, and so far it has worked. So I'm pretty confident that they can pull it off again against Dignitas, but that's, of course, a very different raid boss now.
Here's the funny thing. Mopsio and the Zealots faced off against Dignitas in the Grand Finals, and by almost 200 to 300 HP, actually almost won that tournament.
It was so close in the end, like you said, with Zealots running through previously. And this is the one thing, when we spoke to them before the event, that they said they weren't aiming to do. They literally said, we're not going to try and imitate the performance from last Western Clash. What do they go and do anyway?
They get to the end.
But on the vice versa side, Team Dignitas, they did exactly what they said they would do in the previous interviews. They said that anything other than a first place would be a disappointment to them, and they're now one best of 7 away with a 1-game advantage from doing that.
Well, let's stop dancing around it here. Let's get this Grand Final started. Battleground number 1 is ready to go. Let's go ahead and start the draft as well. Battleground 1 will be Battlefield of Eternity. Leftovers with the choice. Do not forget, this is actually a best of 7 series, but Dignitas comes in with 1 lead here due to their amazing run so far in the Western Clash.
And of course, the last time that the two teams faced each other, that didn't really go too well for the Leftovers. They lost the best of 5 back then without taking a single map, and one of those maps was Battlefield of Eternity. Dignitas in European play has a 4-0 track record here, whereas we are seeing the Leftovers with a 2-2. But it's a map that they really like to play. They pick it quite a lot, and we have seen them at this tournament with a lot of very aggressive drafts, especially with a focus on Tyrael.
And even outside of Battlefield, we have to talk about the mountain that Leftovers are coming through here. The last times these teams faced each other, 3-0 Dig, 3-1 Dig, 3-0 Dignitas again. This is going to be a difficult matchup, but Battlefield, like you said, it's another Dignitas favored map here, but we just saw Leftovers pull off some cool stuff on it.
And one of the interesting things also about the last time they faced each other was that that match happened at the beginning of Phase 2. So that's been a long time, and ever since then, the team improved a lot.
Yeah.
Their journey from the beginning of the year when they ended HGC up to now is already impressive, but especially the improvements of the duration throughout Phase 2, that was pretty spectacular. And it all culminates here now in that grand final that we have at the Western Clash.
Most of that improvement came in their macro play. They used to fall behind dramatically if they lost the first couple of team fights in their own matchups, and now they're starting to hang with some of the best. In fact, they are usually setting up plays in advance to be able to move in for a team fight. But Dignitas, as mentioned, even in the times that we've seen them fall behind in this series or even a match this entire weekend, they always come back in the late game. You have to bring conviction to the series to get a win.
Absolutely, and we've only really seen one team able to do that, and that's Gen G from the mid-season brawl. That's how good this team Dignitas is, and they're going to be looking to continue to carry this kind of momentum onto BlizzCon. Losing here would be potentially a pretty big stumbling block to the mental state.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about BOE, heroes that we want to see. Hanzo on this battleground has been a mainstay. We always talk about him. We've been talking about him for months, but Sergeant Hammer's popped up as well.
There's actually a lot of heroes that we have to really watch out for here. First of all, we've seen aggressive compositions from Leftovers with Tyrael, who have also massively expanded their hero pool. When you look at what they performed in Phase 2 in Europe, they had one of the smallest hero pools from all of the teams. But every time you talk to them about it, they said, well, we get our picks. We're not going to deviate away from them if we get our best picks here, but we still have more to show. And they've done that at the tournament here. But Tracer is another hero. They like to brawl, they like that double support style that they sometimes show. We have seen Tyrael compositions with Greymane being aggressive around that. You mentioned Hanzo, Immortal Race is always an option. They're very versatile when it comes to their playstyle, and they can adapt to whatever Dignitas is throwing at them.
You were talking about Immortal Races, that Li Ming potential from DAB. It's a little bit, it's not the every single match pick, but when he gets his hands on it, you're like, why isn't it every single match? Because he's just that good on every hero you put him on.
It's a hero that you can pull out in your 4th and 5th picks, so let's go ahead and head into BOE and start this grand finals. First ban potentially coming through, someone that's been banned pretty often between these teams, Diablo. He has been a major main tank in that front line. Maiev has also been played a lot, and she'll be banned out.
Yeah, Maiev is absolutely dominant at the tournament here. She has such a huge impact to all the compositions that are being played. We see a lot of focus of trying to group heroes up and then just go in with a lot of AoE damage. But more importantly, she can force fights, and that's something that Leftovers have done over and over again. Even being down a talent, if they find a good position, they try to force that fight, and Maiev is excellent at doing exactly that, so a really good banner on the side of Dignitas.
Another person who's pretty decent at forcing fights, only via a completely different method. Portal for quick engages, Medivh is removed, and we also see, finally, Wobby's Yarel taken away from him.
But that does leave a Blaze, who's also been a backstay that you can go into. We've also seen a little bit of Dehaka from Team Dignitas. Granted, it is BOE, you don't typically see it here, but it is playable. Usually if you pick Dehaka on this battleground, you're trying to race towards that level 10.
And it leaves a lot of options open. We have a lot of very mobile heroes that are still up for the pickings. Hanzo is taken first, so we're back to the priority on the Immortal Race and trying to take the objective. But we have Genji still available. There's a Tracer possibility in case that they are going to try and run that style again. So very mobile heroes that can dive into the backline, at least for now available.
But Diablo, it is going to go over to Mobzio, and we will see Linked on that Decade. It's been being called out by a lot of people as potentially an insta-ban against him, but we see the other heroes that Dignitas did ban, and you can completely understand the logic behind it, but Linked is so scary on this Decade Kane, and combine that with the Diablo engages, we're going to see some scary stuff.
And based on what we get on the 2-3, we can have Dignitas kind of flex into an aggressive style. We've seen Zillion and Karazim on this battleground. They are willing to shred down an Immortal if they want to go down that route. But for now, we get Greymane and Blaze coming out for our 2nd and 3rd pick.
So Solana is prioritized by Dignitas before the bans, so they can potentially lower the pool of Leftovers a little bit, moving in here by taking away maybe the Leoric or maybe someone with a little bit more Immortal damage.
I mean, more importantly, they have an absolutely crazy race against the Immortal now. We always talk about how much Hanzo can really perform here, and him alone, he is so powerful, but now you have Greymane as well. That helps you to take down structures whenever you want to, but if you get onto the Immortal and you have just a few seconds, you can chunk that thing down.
And someone that's been displayed a couple of times so far in this tournament is Uther. Is Uther something that we could see from this team? With them setting up so much on the Immortal phase, they just want to make sure they protect their back line.
Dignitas snuck it in earlier today. It could potentially be the possibility, especially with that cleansed Divine Shield against the amazing CC Diablo offers.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me a bit with Uther is that we could see that poke battle in the middle. So he would synergize really well with Greymane, and of course also give the defense for Hanzo whenever he's engaged upon. But I'm a little bit worried what happens when there's a long drawn-out poke battle in the middle around the Immortals and Leftovers take a more defensive position. That could be a bit of a downside, but it is an option if they really feel that that snap engagement through Divine Shield would help them.
The backup top laners coming online here. Dehaka comes out for Leftovers. Boss looking to play that. 4th and 5th pickup ready for Team Dignitas. Let's see if they're going to be able to go for a little bit more front line. Going to need their main tank, and then of course they're waiting on their support. So we'll get Murden and Uther for the 4th and 5th.
So Uther, if he can get those Divine Shields down, then he can potentially protect against that X-Strike. It is a very telegraphed ability, so you can get some good value here. So now it's the question of what Leftovers pick up here. You can punish Uther with picks like a Gul'dan or a Lunara, but Nara used to be a very high pick on this map, but has fallen off so much.
Even Li Ming for poke
Yeah.
is still available, and there has to be some poke here. So the Uther choice really enables and empowers Greymane and saves Hanzo if there's trouble. But they can really try and play around poke and just set that up. They go for Cassia as an option now.
Cassia, helpful against Greymane.
Yeah.
Helpful against Greymane, helpful against a lot of this team, including the Hanzo. He does still have a little bit of auto attack damage himself. She has decent poke on the Immortal, which can also damage enemy heroes with that Lightning Fury. And very importantly, she has the option, if she wants to potentially grab an isolated Uther if she decides to go for that Valkyrie play.
That's a selling point for me, being able to pull somebody in. You have two backliners, Greymane and Hanzo, that don't want to be engaged upon. If you're able to pull them in, or even Uther and blow him up, back up, wait for the ghost to go away, you can engage afterwards.
Anytime you can force a self-divine shield, it is a victory, because that means that Assassin is even squishy as long as you don't blow everything to get that divine shield.
Caldor, after the first draft, what are you thinking?
I really think I like what Dignitas has here, because they have so much race potential on the Immortal. They can dominate the objective, they can get snap kills through the stunts that they have and the setup with the divine shield onto Greymane, for example. And then again, as much as I like the Cinderella story of Leftovers, Dignitas is just playing in a league of their own right now, and if they don't overthink things and just play their style, they should be able to pick up a first win here.
Well, we'll see if the shoe will fit. Let's go ahead and go into our first game in this best of 7 series. Over to Jayhao and Gillyweed to cast all the action.
The team with no expectations versus the one that has them all. Not just the Western Clash, but BlizzCon beyond. Jayhao, are you pumped? Are you ready for the grand finals?
I'm super ready. The fact that Leftovers has made it this far, this is their battleground they've been shown to be strong on, but Dignitas is the monster that they have to take down, so it will be no easy task if they really focused DAB in that style of play.
Well, I'm so glad that you're ready. I'm ready. Are you guys out there ready for this grand finals? I thought so.
We are underway in the grand finals, and it will be Dignitas here on the left in blue, JPL on the front line on the Murden, Wubby on his Dahaka. Of course, we know Poik on the Hanzo, Snitch on the Greymane, Zelia on that Uther. This is Dignitas!
And their challengers all the way through the lower bracket. Boss, he'll be playing as Dahaka. DAV back on Cassia. Linked, making a name for himself on Deckard Cain. Blakitny playing as Genji yet again. And finally, Mopsio playing Diablo. Let's hear it for the Leftovers.
I saw the Cassia pick, and I thought Charge Strikes works awfully well against Uther to get that spread damage and really keep Uther, I guess, in very mana retention phase. Instead, we are going that single target damage, of course, helping out in that race as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But Mopsio lurking, Blakitny lurking, but JPL actually starts things off right. Perfect storm for him. He's also been one of those heroes that's gone into Sledgehammer. I'd say this map with Hanzo Greymane on his side probably won't have to.
A lot of good race with Hanzo and Greymane there. Leftovers sticking to a very standard setup for the beginning of Battlefield of Eternity, something that's not so standard for them, but the respect for Team Dignitas and the respect sprays from both sides to have toward their opponents, knowing that they could try for something innovative, they could try for a sneak toward a mercenary camp, toward a gank that we saw versus Team Freedom, or even some early tower damage, but Team Dignitas are far too likely to know what's up.
It's going to be interesting how aggressive we'll see Blakitny on that Genji, knowing that the Uther's back there, the instant stun, that point-and-click stun, and then a Greymane Hanzo follow-up behind that. There's going to be up to a lot more that Leftovers will bring in that initiation, because Dignitas does have the firepower to counteract that. So when this fight explodes, it'll be very telling on the comfortability of Leftovers, most notably Blakitny on that Genji.
I know that we have been talking about how everyone from Leftovers has had the ability and has made plays for the team this weekend, but the one who impresses me the most is Blakitny. I felt like coming into this tournament, he was quite possibly the weakest of the players. He does play that more aggressive role, was punished a lot by some of the other European teams, but he has really stepped up at this tournament on that role that is so close to being over the line at all times. And They're looking to cross that line here as we get some aggression toward Team Dignitas, but not finding anything yet, just playing it safely until we hit that 3-minute point in the Immortal spawn.
Dignitas continuing to keep an eye on things, keeping that vision, not willing to risk these early engagements against that blow-up style of Leftovers, so they play cautious, they keep that cautious approach. Muradin already 7 stacks on his level 1, and of course his baseline make that 8 as he's just holding that point. And for JPL, that is a great start for him to have that many stacks this early in the game. He can have a high impact in these team fights.
Well, I almost wondered if we'd see a changeup of Inner Light for Casio with the stun lock between Jet Propulsion, Stormbolt. There's a Dragon's Arrow too, and then Uther maybe wanting to blind as Greymane would come in, but instead sticking with Ring of the Leech allows DAB to keep himself alive. You get more of the sustainability from being able to get some of that life leech off of attacking the blinded enemies.
The Shrine phase underway. We see Podyboss doing his best to drag in that Shaman to make sure those don't spawn. Now here comes the lockdown. There's going to be the dive in with that fend, but we see Poik able to get out of danger with that natural agility.
The setup is as follows. Leftovers Immortal in the top, Team Dignitas in the bottom. Both of the Shaman camps already captured, being dealt with. Push in, follow up, overpower. And they'll get the root to put some more damage in on Wubby.
They would have loved, they would have loved to have that root behind there. There's Blakitny finding his way and getting that stun. Oh, by the way, JPL did say Sledgehammer is going to be the pickup at 4, so he will add even more to this race, and that is the name of the game between a Hanzo and a Greymane. Only going to get worse as it goes on. Mopsio eats a hammer on his way in. A second hammer comes down. But speaking of hammer, that is going to be first blood as Hanzo the priority target.
Podyboss showed he knows how to land those drags in the last series, and he continues to do so, getting that one drag that led to Linked having the quick follow-up with the Scroll of Sealing first blood in this series, in this grand finals to Leftovers, and they'll use that time to take the Immortals to halftime.
That's got to feel good. They get the stun onto Mopsio, into the flip, into the drag, and now Leftovers putting the pressure onto Dignitas to start this game.
Oof, Team Dignitas knows a thing or two about momentum and how powerful it can be, and Leftovers, even with the small amount of break that we had between the series, still are firing on all cylinders now versus the world-class team, the world-class runner-ups at the mid-season brawl.
Well, for Leftovers, they do get the first Immortal of the game, and I think that last part of the race past the halftime show was very telling because Leftovers went all in with everything that they had. You saw the chunk of damage go out onto that Immortal, and then it became a very slow and measured pace, and Dignitas was able to catch up somewhat, get that shield down to a manageable level as both teams pick up level 7.
That was pre-7. Now never outmatched, should make things differently. But currently, as it stands, Leftovers are looking to bring down some structures. The Immortal into melee range. Mopsio steps forward, starting things off. Blakitny gets a two-man swift strike, and Mopsio follows up. Needs the help of the Cleanse to go over, and it doesn't matter. 2 kills, 3 kills for the Leftovers. Who the heck is this team?
Laser precision from Blakitny as he goes in. I wondered, how comfortable would you be? He said, oh, I'm very comfortable. Goes in the follow-up from Diablo. He says, hey, listen, brother, I know you can jump over the wall, but guess what? So can I. Confirm the first kill in that triple.
That's a level lead over Team Dignitas on Battlefield of Eternity. Leftovers make the swift rotation to the bottom to start a Khazra camp. And Team Dignitas are going to have a hard time of getting back into this game, down a level. Their first objective, get heroic abilities. They know Leftovers are on the way there, and Leftovers are likely to be fairly passive until they can get to those heroic abilities. Dignitas just going to get whatever they can take right now to start to make their comeback in this game.
Well, Mopsio, he is sniffing out just about everywhere. That hammer might have just saved another life there. Mopsio is fully stacked. He's got the charge in. There's going to be the flip. Here comes the body blocks by Mopsio. The roots are going to be there. Wubby pops out Pyromania. Podyboss comes in, but the stun is going to land the follow-up stun. Wubby trying to get out of there. That is another takedown. We are looking at 6 kills to 0. Leftovers has come out to fight.
So you could be 9.5, and then just not. The Valkyrie pulls in. Another one, a drag catches. The Alia's not getting out of here. Ooh, Dignitas respect this team because Leftovers are here for a fight.
This crowd is electric every time they make that play, get that kill. The crowd is erupting. They are behind the underdog story of Leftovers. 7 kills to 0, 7 minutes in. There's nobody writing this story. Leftovers, they have the pen to the paper. They are making their own story happen here at the Western Clash.
And they'll continue that with a fort in the top lane. Already took the bottom one, stepping back so that they can clear out these minions, but with it being so close to dead, it's going to be something they can make quick work of at some point. Dignitas still there, still looking for 10 leftovers now, with Immortals spawning right now. Get set up to get that as fast as they can.
They're trying to get this to the halftime show that so they can make the rotation back down is leftovers. That Shaman camp that was picked up, Dahaka does do well on that to get the drag onto that Shaman as he did before to neutralize some of that damage that will inevitably be coming in from that camp. Leftovers, they do get it to the halftime mark. Boss being very respectful of his position as Dignitas has also picked up 10. And then Greymane locking in a cursed bullet for his own to deal with that high health bar of Diablo.
And there it is, there's you, slow, hits Mopsio too, but he has a self heal, goes right back in. Blakitny's with him, and Blakitny's trying to cut down all of Team Dignitas. Lightning Breath is out with a stay a while and listen to, not getting it yet. And a big stun from Dignitas spells the end of Diablo.
Now they're trying to make another play, but the boss gets the stun, and all of a sudden the Finn comes in on that target, hits Zalia on the backside of that. Genji does fall in this. Uther still putting out those ghost heals. Another drag lands. JPL able to get the jump out. DAB and team, they're still looking for more, but right now they're turning their attention, trying to keep the race. Mopsio, Souls will reset.
Blakitny got the one kill with a Swift Strike, used that reset to go in and get the other, and almost had it with Deflect. Poik was almost dead. If they would have had that, would have been even more, but as it stands, still the Leftovers will be victorious in this next Immortal phase, despite resetting the souls of Mopsio.
They didn't pick up their Shaman camp before that objective. They want to race this down as fast as possible to empower this next Immortal, which will be in the top lane. Quick heads-up play to get over there, so getting the Shaman camp behind this Immortal, that fort is a foregone conclusion. It's a matter, can we get beyond the keep wall? Can we get further than that? We know the Dragon Arrow up in 7 seconds. They have the playmaking potential to fight behind the Immortal, but Leftovers, they are showing their resolve, looking to fight at any moment.
The big deal is going to be Wubby if he can get that jet propulsion behind to follow up if the Dragon's Arrow goes down. Dignitas need to be careful of Valkyrie. It's worked once, and there it goes out. Now Dignitas can feel safer knowing that that cooldown is gone. They can't get a full out. This Immortal was pretty low in shielding, so Leftovers will have to be content with just getting one keep tower in the gate.
They path directly beside that sidewall. Blakitny says, look, we don't want any vision possible. Gets that takedown. We'll use that maybe later for vision, just the small things that can have an impact later in the game. But right now, Leftovers pick up a camp up at the top, find themselves a level and a half up over Team Dignitas.
This is a good point for Team Dignitas to start making the comeback. They're just that level and a half, doing whatever they can to get that. For the immediate moment, it's trying to take out what is coming at them and the lanes, and I know that because of that, they're gonna have to give up some camps, but as it is right now, it feels like with how dominant Leftovers have been throughout this early game, Team Dignitas' best chance is gonna be this next fight. If they continue to lose fights as they have been throughout this game, it may be an irrecoverable situation, though this is Leftovers Battleground, and Dignitas do have the one game advantage coming into this best of 7.
Dignitas, they have been in rough situations before, and I know Battlefield of Eternity, they've lost both keeps and come back in games before. We'll see if they can do it here, finding themselves a level down and showing a lot of respect towards that 13 talent here. Dignitas held back, but Leftovers made sure to check every single corner on their path down here towards this keep wall. Getting these towers down would give them a chunk of experience to continue that race towards 16. They also have the global. JPL steps out for a stun. One more hammer away from getting that pierce on his baseline.
Now the positioning of Dignitas was applying a tourniquet, but now 13 is here and Wubby's coming in. Stormbolt hits, Dragon Arrow follows up DAB, and a whole heap of danger. DAB falls, Dignitas finds the kill they need. X-Strike drops down and Boss is here.
Now we've got the Lightning Breath trying to lock down multiple members, but there's Greymane with the Divine Shield, focusing on Link. The old man somehow surviving, but not much longer. They do get the trade out onto Hanzo, but JPL and team are looking for more. The stun from Wubby comes in. A follow-up stun. There's the pierce on the stun. Blakitny trying to hold Boss, unable to walk away. He's gonna, well, he'll be taken down in a moment, but Dignitas fighting back.
Taking it down with the Stormbolt too, just to get the damage there. Blakitny moves out through the Immortal, gets some damage on that, but Team Dignitas do exactly what they need to do. They say, stop, enough, we have given too much, we need to play patient, we let Leftovers come to us. Leftovers were happy to do so. They took both camps, they wanted to siege down Keep Towers, they wanted to see if they could get more. They may be able to get more here though. Valkyrie pulls in Snitch, but a jet propulsion stops up, and now Mopsio, Blakitny, the duo going in after Wubby.
The cursed bullet ripping apart that health bar of Diablo. He's surviving for now. Can he get away from the flames of that bunker that went down? Mopsio trying to get that W in. They find Podyboss coming on the backside. Misses the drag. The dragon arrow missed there, almost confirming a kill, but more importantly, fine breathing room for Team Dignitas as the Immortal on their side to try and race this down.
Well, Team Dignitas still find themselves behind in experience due to the fact that Leftovers had such a dominant early game on Battlefield of Eternity where you can start the snowball, but Dignitas feels like the fight is not out of them yet for this game. They still have time. They need to do something if they can before 16. Getting this Immortal would be huge for them in being able to slow down Leftovers.
The race for Leftovers is abysmal when it comes to racing down the Immortal. As much as Leftovers wants to hold that position, the scatter arrows continuing to come in. Even JPL with that sledgehammer getting that extra poke in. So Dignitas flipping the script now. They pick up an Immortal of their own. This is also a 13-minute Immortal, and this is the highest shielded Immortal we've seen so far in this game.
Well, Shaman Camp again taken as the Immortal went out. This will be able to help up in this top lane where the Immortal starts its siege and Team Dignitas with it. This is can be a scary place around the side of the fort. Wait and see if Wubby finds a jet propulsion in. For the moment, he's with the rest of the team though and starting to march forward.
Podyboss coming in deep here, Gilly. That's getting some respect from Dignitas, but Podyboss, some going in, inexplicably going in, uses that essence, but now they're looking to take the fight behind that, and now they dive in deep.
Deep in the lines of Team Dignitas, stay a while, but the Divine Shield was just fine. Dragon's Arrow before Poik jumps into the bunker onto Linked, being chased down by the double dynamic duo of the front line of Dignitas. They get that kill, they get the one kill. Poik dives out of the X-Strike, making his way out of the fight. This is taking place on multiple fronts.
Dignitas lucky to get out alive. Podyboss trying to see if he can get the takedown onto Zalia, but that is Uther. He gets the heal, he gets the reset, but now we have the ghost of Uther heals. He's going to keep the rest of Dignitas up and remaining. The one thing is, this Immortal has been pushing the entire time. Got through the keep wall, will get some keep damage in, but it is done, it is over. The only thing that Leftovers can say at the end of this is that they do have the advantage when it comes to the death timers on their support.
Well, Team Dignitas didn't have to wait until both keeps were down this time before starting to come back on this game, and we are basically set to even. Both teams still having their keeps. Leftovers have gotten more kills through the early game, but Team Dignitas has stabilized, and that is purely to the unrivaled discipline it feels like this team has.
They seem to always know how to get back into the game. They have a plan, a strategy for everything. You cannot fool this team. It is a matter of, it almost requires a perfect game to beat this team. As we've seen so far, this undefeated team of Dignitas has held strong. They've been the front runner for the majority of their games, almost unchallenged, but Leftovers is bringing the fight here, and they are being very aggressive right now against Dignitas.
Well, I can't say it enough. This is Leftovers Battleground, and it is one of their best chances of getting a game up on Team Dignitas. Leftovers currently on something like an 8-0 win streak, but this might be the place where it stops. Stay a while as Mopsio dives in, hitting Wubby.
Here comes Podyboss, though. They're trying to get onto the backside. X-Strike comes down. Blakitny, he hops over the wall. JPL says, hold on a second, buddy. I know where you're headed. JPL making the plays for this team on the front line. And now Leftovers, they're on the retreat as JPL and team keep going in.
And where are you going to retreat to, Leftovers? There's no fort here. They've got to keep fighting. Mopsio goes in, a drag hits. They're trying to bring down Wubby, and they do get him trading out 1-for-1.
Mopsio trying to stay alive, but there's going to be the stun. The seconds on the heels are keeping him alive somehow. Mopsio trying to trade out, trying to stay alive with that fire stomp, unable to do so. The scatter arrows continue to penetrate that of Leftovers with that Pierce post 16.
Yeah, Team Dignitas will go up in that fight. Team Leftovers do have Diablo coming back in, but resetting the souls this late in a game hurts.
Now they will find themselves on opposite sides here. This is what Leftovers probably likes. They can stand here, they can move forward. They've been the aggressor in all of these team fights. The scatter arrows from Hanzo have been a huge difference maker in this game. and the Dragon Arrows to set it all up, but Leftovers puts their foot in the ground, and they hold it right there. And the aggression here from Leftovers is getting this to the halftime show.
That's a sigh of relief for the Leftovers. Let's see where this goes next. Divine Shield and Avatar were down for that, and that was Team Dignitas being okay with allowing that to happen so that they had those crucial saving heroic abilities. Cody Boss comes in with the drag, cleanse used, root down, slows 2, hits Wubby.
Here we go, the bunker down. Diablo going in, does get the charge. There's a follow-up. Wubby, he gets the D-Shield. Remember, Cleanse and D-Shield now down. Now the Lightning Breath is out. Wubby goes in. There's going to be the triangle. It locks them in. Do they have the follow-up damages? We see Pody Boss and DAB make their way in from the top.
Trying to leave out of this is going to be tricky versus Hanzo, but Mopsio says, we're not leaving, we're going forward. Unfortunately, though, he goes down. X-Strike drops, and so too will Blakitney. Somehow, some way, all of Dignitas lived through that.
It just seems like they have this all-in mentality. Mopsio is willing to pull the trigger at any moment, and it came back to bite them. Whew. Dignitas holding strong again. This is going to be another Immortal for them, picked up momentarily.
Super, super close game 1 of our grand finals. But this is getting to be into the late game with this Immortal and with the Siege and this small, slight experience lead that Dignitas has amassed here. They may be able to do a lot more with this. Mopsio and Blakitney will be back in about 10 seconds. DAB gets in, gets some harassment going to Team Dignitas, who are starting to push this wave up ahead of the Immortal, trying to bring down these keep towers, get them to the path of Storm Talents, with enough time that they might be able to go in and get something done with them before Leftovers get it themselves.
16 will be, or 20 will be awfully close here for Dignitas as things start to fall. This minion wave again, and now Leftovers, they might be defending against 20. Wubby goes in, there's the start. There's the Dragon Arrow to follow up. The stay a while and listen, locks down multiple people, but no souls means Mopsio the first to fall.
For a full minute, he won't be here on the front lines. Drag is gonna pull in JPL. Linked is where he does not want to be, but drops down the route for the team, trying to make it out. So too is Pody Boss with the healing. JPL not gonna let it happen. The Immortal's gonna go over to the tower though. Genji falls and Team Dignitas are slowly bringing down the Leftovers, but they are also getting pretty low with the poke from DAB. If they can take him down, they might just be able to finish out this game.
DAB does get taken down there, linked as well. Snitch says, enough of this, I'm trying to get the kills. He is gonna be the first to fall, but they still have enough to try and take this down. The Immortal is here, 70% and falling. Dignitas is going to take this game and go up 2-0 over Leftovers.
Leftovers brought the fight. They were on something like an 8-game win streak, but so were Team Dignitas, having a win streak of their own, and they'll keep that going. Though that early game looked very good for the Leftovers.
It just seems they got a little ambitious as they went in. They were so aggressive, almost to a fault there towards the end. The team fights for Dignitas started to turn around more and more in their favor, but make no mistake about it, Mopsio and team, they were so close to getting those kills on that back line, and if they get that, they could have potentially ended game. Instead, Dignitas holding strong. That Uther pick with that armor and the extra healing there seemed to be enough.
Well, it was Dig who had the 8-game win streak, taking it to 9. Leftovers have their 6 reset, but let's go back to the analyst decks and see what they thought of Game 1 of the Grand Finals.
Dignitas gets the win, but it did not start off easy, did it, Tetcher?
Yeah, they had 7 kills in less minutes did Leftovers. They put on quite the show to start this off. But once the objectives started coming up, or at least the second objective, Dignitas started to stabilize, started to play a little bit more macro, and started to win the fights of their own, surviving those engages.
Was the aggression a little bit too much from Leftovers towards the end of there?
Maybe a little bit. Like some of the dives of Mopsio and his survivability were really impressive, but we had a couple of the engages where he had like no hit points left anymore. He just went in anyways. But I think from Dignitas' perspective, this is now, first of all, it was a bit of a wake-up call. Second of all, I think this is pretty symptomatic for them in important matches. They've been talking all about how in finals and in these long series, they usually start a little bit slow and they have trouble to close out the first game. And they've been trying to also salvage it a little bit in the European League. But right now, that happened again, and they won the map. So from their perspective, a super important start here. They take the 2-0, and especially towards the mid and late game, they were able to salvage the problems from the early stages.
But still, giving over Diablo and Kane to Leftovers seems a little problematic. Maybe not again?
I would say there's a good chance that we're going to see Diablo banned out against them.
Or at least taken away, that
Yeah.
is for sure. And we did see the Stormbolt build from Murden on JPL, pretty typical for him.
It burned through those Immortals incredibly quickly. He was able to land fantastic stuns onto the enemy heroes as well. He stacked so fast on that piercing Stormbolt. He was easily able to make so many plays throughout that game.
Well, we do have one replay, Caldor, so walk us through it. What are you going to show us?
Yeah, it's just like one team fight that we're going to take a closer look at. Nothing too spectacular, just a lot of chaos on all sides. This is when the push actually comes in, and here's one of the most important parts. We have the Haka moving in, and the idea is that Leftovers start to move in as a unit behind the Immortal and start the attack. The problem is that at this point, they're not quite on the same page. The team is moving away, and all of a sudden, Podibos is pretty much alone there. So he is already using his burrow, he's pretty low, he has to pop the essence, but the team is now starting to move in from the side, and they're trying to flank. And this is where all the chaos really erupts, because Mopsio is now going deep. He puts the pressure onto Poik immediately after this, together with Genji. And you can see here already a huge problem for Hanzo. He gets the Divine Shield. The fight is already being pushed towards the right side a bit by JPL on Muradin, but the backline is in a lot of trouble. And Snitch is trying to salvage that. Zelia in particular having a huge impact on trying to keep Hanzo alive here, and he can now turn it around in just a second. Sleep gets up, and here's the arrow, and that's just a perfect position. Link is completely isolated. Mopsio is doing his best with a lightning breath to somehow get some counter pressure and try to just push them off Link, and it doesn't really work out for them. It's the first kill, and it's really where we are seeing with the Haka now falling, thanks to Wooby and JPL. This is where the fight would normally turn. But the one thing that the Leftovers have done the entire time is counter-aggression. They're trying to go for Poik, who's super low, barely escapes, Snitch is low as well, Wooby has basically no hit points left, and it's just a massive back and forth where finally Zelia is pushed into a corner, and thanks to Blikidne, they can pick that kill. And this is basically how the entire game went. We had so many fights that were just insanely chaotic, where you had every single player look for a kill, and especially Dignitas was amazing with their ability to walk away from team fights with heroes that had maybe 5% of their hit points left. It was absolutely ridiculous. At one point, Cassia was so close to actually just getting one Lightning Fury in that could theoretically have killed 3 heroes at once.
Quickly, Hector?
That's what you've got to wonder. That Cassia did fantastically, but you've got to wonder, with so many low heroes and they needed Poke anyway, would that Li Ming that we were discussing earlier have potentially been a better pick?
Well, let's go into our next series and see if we do have a bit of adjustments in the draft, as game number 3